All right, Lamine Yamal. At this point, everybody's heard of him. 16 years old, consistent starter for Barcelona. Probably the nastiest 16-year-old of all time. Let's be real. We haven't seen anybody else do what he does at his age in football history. Mbappe was barely playing at Monaco at 16. Fabregas didn't play a league game for Arsenal till he was 17. Ronaldo didn't start playing for Sport and senior team till he was 17. And even Messi barely played for Barcelona's senior team till he was 18. I might be missing somebody, but I really think his only competition for best 16-year-old ever at the highest levels is Wayne Rooney and Ansu Fati. Even Rooney is kind of questionable because Rooney's first season at Everton, he started out 16 years old, but a couple months into the season, he'd already turned 17. Fati also turned 17 a couple months into the season. Yamal turned 16 a month before the season started, and he spent the last half year absolutely torching everybody in Spain. He's been one of the few bright spots in a disappointing season for Barcelona. After his brace against Granada that snatched a point for them, it's becoming pretty clear that Barca is starting to lean on him, and if we're being real, that is absolutely not a good thing. Earlier in the season, he was coming off the bench pretty consistently, but that's changed. His last 6 games, he's played 6 straight 90s, and in those 6 games, he has 3 goals and an assist while constantly being one of the best players on the pitch for Barcelona. Now, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer because it's obviously great that he's this elite this early, but if history is an indicator, they probably need to chill the fuck out. You do not want to become so reliant on a 16-year-old that you feel like you have to play him to give your team a fair shot. The damage that could do to his body in the long run is absurd. He's nowhere near fully grown. Some might call it soft, but you literally have to be soft with extremely young guys like him or you'll ruin their future. Pedri was 18 in the 2020 season? They was working my boy like a slave. 73 games? That's absurd. This guy played 52 games for Barcelona in 4 different competitions and played 21 other matches for both the senior and under-21 national team. That's not regular, and his body reacted in the most obvious way possible. The next season, he missed over 40 games for club and country, with the bulk of that coming from 2 separate hamstring injuries. Last season, he missed almost 4 months total with injury. This year, he's already missed 15 games, and we're still in February. He was 18 in that insane 73-game season, and everybody was applauding his durability until his body couldn't hold up consistently anymore. Now his hamstrings are made of yogurt, and everybody's looking back like, damn, maybe it was a little crazy to let a kid rip himself to shreds like that. To be fair, Barca did beg him not to play in the Olympics for Spain, but it's a little unfair to play him in damn near every single game at club level, then expect him to just duck the national team. That's selfish as hell. Y'all played an 18-year-old in every league game besides one, and then said, wait, no, don't play for Spain, you'll be tired. No, really? Just because a player is really talented and wants to play doesn't mean his body will automatically agree to playing almost every game of a professional season, especially in a rough league like Spain's. Pedri felt like Superman talking about some, I get rest and nutrition. Now he can't play more than 2 months in a row without his legs melting. Just because a player seems sturdy doesn't mean it will last forever. Wear and tear exists, and you do not want to start breaking down a player's body this young or else you're shorting their prime in the future. Everything is going great till it's not. Hazard didn't play under 30 league games a single time in his career after starting to get minutes as a 17-year-old. It wasn't until the middle of his prime, a decade later, that his body began to break down. Sure, eating like a mukbang YouTuber didn't help, but there was also the fact that he put so much strain on his body for years since he was a teen. As a winger especially, that's probably the worst thing you could do. Wingers are arguably the most attacked and least protected players on the pitch when it comes to fouling. Look at how Saka gets treated. Marino has complained for years about Hazard getting abused. Neymar's a walking hospital bill and can barely stay on the pitch. Shit, Yamal is already getting Neymar comparisons, which would be disastrous if we're being honest. With how absurdly skilled he is, it won't be long before he starts getting the Neymar treatment too. Once people figured out they couldn't stop Neymar, they just started hacking him down and calling it a day. After the age of 24, he never played more than 22 league games in a season again. Look at these numbers since 2016. This is from a couple of years ago. In around 6 years, he was fouled over 1,000 times. Almost 4.5 times a game. That's not normal at all. By the way, if you really look at this list, 7 out of 10 players here are wingers. That says enough. Nobody cares until they're 28 or 29 and all of a sudden they're washed before most other positions and nobody's thinking about why. They just shit on the player for not being durable enough. In Yamal's case, he's 16, already playing 33 games for club and 4 for country, and we're still in February. He still has the UCL knockouts and the rest of the La Liga season left, as well as the Euros and then the Olympics after. Depending on how far Barca and Spain get in their competitions, he could play up to 34 more games this season. Even if they don't advance very far in the UCL, Euros, or Olympics, he could still end up playing around 25 more games. That will leave his total number of games played somewhere around 60 to 70. That's crazy. This kid ain't even faced the horrors of trigonometry yet, and they got him out there potentially playing over 60 games. Of course, it's not as bad as Pedri's case, at least not yet. Yamal has only started about half the games he's played in. To be fair though, Pedri started off only starting about half the games too, and halfway through the season they just said fuck it and started him basically every game the rest of the way. Barcelona's starting to do that now with Yamal too, but it's mainly because they haven't had much of a choice. Yamal and Rafinha are the only right wingers they got right now, and recently Rafinha's been injured, which has forced a drastic increase in Yamal's minutes. When you look at their other winger options, it doesn't get much better. Felix doesn't play on the right wing. In his whole club career, he's only played right winger like 5 times. The position doesn't suit him at all. He's way more comfortable on the left or as a center forward or second striker. He's also currently injured. Who else is injured? Ferran Torres, who's probably going to be out a few more weeks. He can play on either wing and take some of the pressure off Yamal, but he's out of action at the moment. When everybody gets healthy again, the rotation should be better, I guess. Rafinha can play on the right and Torres or Felix on the left, or Torres on the right and Felix on the left. And if anything, there's always Rocky, who can play on the left too. Barca's lack of depth at right winger is going to be a problem in the future too, though, because Yamal can't shoulder the whole burden every time somebody gets hurt, and you don't want players to be playing out of position to give him time off. It's only going to get worse too. The club might not permanently sign Joao Felix, and Rafinha is reported to be their main player on the market this summer as they try to gather funds to address their biggest need, a defensive midfielder. That means you potentially lose 2 of your wingers, and you're left with just Yamal, Torres, and a Rocky that will be playing his secondary position if you put him on the wing. Obviously, they try to sign other players too, and they have Ansu Fati coming back from loan next season, but the situation isn't close to ideal. You have 2 options. Either play Lamine Yamal more than you should at his age and risk long-term damage, or make him share minutes with much inferior players and prioritize the future over the now. Neither option sounds the best. Somebody like Mo Salah would have been a perfect signing right now. A veteran that can help develop Yamal and also help you contend in La Liga since he's not washed yet like certain other members of Barcelona's current attack. With Klopp leaving, it sounds like Salah going to Barca would be perfect for them, but the last time Salah has been linked with Barcelona was around last year this time. It's a phrase that's become more and more frequent during the last few years, but Barca is in a bad spot. Now, I just want to make it clear that I'm not asking for him to be baby forever. Obviously, he's going to have to face physicality in the future regardless. However, he is 16. He's not even done growing. His body isn't anywhere near fully developed. Making him go out there and get chopped at week in and week out is basically begging for something bad to happen. It's not just injuries they need to worry about with Yamal. They're already wasting his absurd level of talent, and if they're not careful, he could get frustrated and decide to head elsewhere. For someone not watching Barcelona, they might look at his numbers and go, okay, that's cool for a 16-year-old, but he's doing way more, and his teammates just aren't helping him out. The amount of chances he put on a platter that his boys in the box could have finished is insane. He could easily have 10 to 15 assists right now. This is what happens when you employ a fossil and refuse to bench him. Lewandowski's been stinking it up all season. Basically what I'm saying is build around Lamine Yamal, but also be careful with him. They throwing him straight into the lion's den right now, and it won't be long before he turns into a what could have been.